What's up guys, and welcome to a new video. So I have a lot of hours into the pits at this point. My highest clear so far is tier 116 with my Shadow Mage necromancer. I've put together 10 tips that I think will help you guys push deeper into the pits. You may already know some of these and you may not, but in my opinion these are the best 10 tips to fully optimize how far you can push your build into the pit. Hopefully this video ends up being helpful, and if it is, don't forget to leave a like and a sub. If you have any questions or comments, let me know down below. Let's get right into it. Starting off with tip number 1, right here in Gaia Cool, if you didn't know it already, there's a side quest that you can do called a pinch of poison. Actually, it's right in here that you meet up with a guy, and if you look, you can get this elixir right here. You can do the quest, and it will unlock this elixir, and you can craft this elixir anytime, and that's the way you can have 2 elixirs, and this boosts your health by quite a bit. So you can use like 2 health elixirs, and as you can see, I have both active. And that puts me up to 60k life, as to where I was at 42 without either elixir. So that can definitely be a game changer in the pit. So you definitely want to look for this side quest called a pinch of poison right here in Gaia Cool. For tip number 2, right here you can see I have almost 2,000 rune shards. These rune shards drop everywhere. With the minions, for instance, it's better off in open layouts, like, that have big layouts, not in like close quarters. I'd prefer to have open layouts, especially in the higher tier pits where it's easier for me to group the enemies up and for my minions to, just engage them and me to be next to my minions. Depending on your build and your playstyle, you definitely want to fish for layouts. So say you go into a pit and, it's got really close quarters and you're in the higher tier pits that are, to the extent of what you're pushing, feel free to just leave that and open another one. Keep opening, because it will always change. So just keep opening it up and fish for that layout that you're looking for to make it easier from the start. Don't sit there and try to push yourself through, a layout that you don't like much, that isn't working out for you, when you can easily just open a new one. And, it costs 3 rune shards, and rune shards drop literally everywhere. Tip number 3, upgrade your gear, guys. Now, I'm sure some of you already know this, some of you may not, but you can come over here to the blacksmith, you can temper, and you can masterwork. Tempering, basically you're adding on, different temperings, like right there, the movement speed, the corpse tendril size. You're going to add a lot of strength to your build with temperings, and once you temper, then you can masterwork. You can upgrade your gear, and you can see right here, I masterwork this up to 12, and for my build, that chance for skeletal mage attacks to cast twice is huge. That's basically double damage for my build. So, and I hit that 3 times, I got lucky, but still, upgrading even the once or twice on that helps my build immensely. And that's not counting upgrading everything. And I'm still not even upgraded yet. But like up here, for instance, I have cooldown reduction. Cooldown reduction for this build equals damage overall. The more cooldown reduction I have, the more often my high damage is up. So, definitely you want to upgrade your build, guys. Go in, farm the lower pit tiers, and, get the upgrades, and then push those higher tier pits. Tip number 4. So in the higher tier pits, one of the main things is obviously, the enemies do a lot of damage, but the higher you go up in the pits, the more life the enemies have. So you want to group enemies up as often as possible. Like with my necromancer, you see right here in the background, I'm using corpse tendrils, constantly repositioning and grouping as many enemies up as I possibly can. If I just go through and have my minions focus on, a few enemies at a time, there's no way that I'm going to finish this pit in time. But if I go through and I'm trying to group enemies up, like with my corpse tendrils, I'm killing a massive amount of enemies at once, and they take a long time to kill, but they're getting mowed down in packs. And you definitely want to do that on whatever build you're playing. Use taunts, whatever it is. If you're a sorcerer, teleport into packs and pull them together. I'm sure most of you already know this, but if you don't, you definitely want to be grouping enemies up and killing them in big packs. Tip number 5. So say that you've went through the pit, you're in like pretty much the highest tier that you can push with your build. It's like the max tier, maybe within a few tiers, and you get to the boss. Now, usually the boss takes at least at this tier 5 minutes or so to kill, because the higher the tiers that you go, the boss is what gives you the most trouble. If you get to the boss and you've only got 3 minutes left, or 4 minutes left, let him kill you and just back out and start over. Feel free to reset. Don't waste a bunch of time fighting the boss when it's not going to do you any good. I did this plenty of times, and it doesn't help anything. You're just putting more time into the pit that you don't need to. So feel free to restart at any time if you know that you can't complete that tier. Tip number 6, positioning. Now, you need to know your build when you go into the pit. Obviously, once you get to the higher tiers, you've been playing your build for a while, but you want to position yourself where you're going to get the most damage. And what I mean by that is, for instance, my necromancer that you see right here in the background, my minions get the most damage when I'm close to them because of Hellbent Commander in my skill tree. So anytime I'm close to my minions, they get a huge multiplier, like 105% right now where I sit. And that's massive. So if you notice in the gameplay, I'm always trying to position myself next to my mages, which are my main damage dealers. So whatever build you're playing, whether it's ranged or you're best up close, make sure you're positioning yourself correctly to do the most amount of damage. Tip number 7, use the map layout to your advantage. What I mean by that is, like if you're in close quarters and say there's like 2 or 3 fire enchanted elites and you're a minion build, well, have them in one room and try to be around the corner next to the door in another room so that the fire's not hitting you when it's pulsing. You know, just try to use the terrain and everything to your advantage. You know, this kind of goes along with positioning as well. You know, the more that you use it to your advantage, the better off you're going to do and the faster you're going to clear the pits. Tip number 8, movement speed. Movement speed is very key in the pits, especially in the higher tiers. You got to understand that some of the mechanics in there for certain builds are one shot, not only at the boss, you know, from elites and whatever else may, you know, be around you. So you definitely want to, you know, get as much movement speed as you possibly can. Like on my boots right here, I got the greater affix of movement speed and at least one of the upgrades on my movement speed. You know, you don't want to be a turtle in the pits, man. If you're a turtle in the pits, you're going to get slain like nobody's business. Definitely, you want to get movement speed. It's very key in the pits. You want a way to break crowd control in the pits. It's very important. There's so many ways that you can get killed in the pits by being frozen, stunned, you know, blocked by walls, whatever the case may be. So however you got to do it, you want to get a way to go immune in the pits, to break unstoppable. For my build right here, it's blood mist. You know, for your build, it may be something different. You know, if you're on a barb, maybe it's one of your war cries. Whatever way you have with your build, you definitely want to have a way to go unstoppable. And, you know, my blood mist is up quite a bit, so I'm able to go unstoppable pretty frequently. You know, in the pits, you get stunned or frozen or whatever, that can be a death sentence. So definitely make it to where you have a way to go unstoppable. All right, and for my final tip, basically, guys, your life and your damage. My build is a pure mage build, and my mages do a good amount of damage. And at the same time, I have good defenses. You know, you want to scale your life, scale your damage reduction, scale your max resistances. You know, you can see right here, my max resistances are 77.2. That definitely helps me in the pit. You can see right here, I have 22% damage reduction. Up here for the aspect, 25% increased damage reduction. I mean, try to get damage reduction and try to get, you know, max resistances, as much life as you possibly can, because survivability is important in the pits as well as damage. You know, in the higher tier pits, yes, the mobs and the boss have a ton of life. But at the same time, they're also hitting hard. And if you're getting one-shotted all over the place, you're never going to complete those higher tiers. So definitely not only scale your damage, but scale your defenses as well. Hopefully these tips and tricks have been helpful. If they have, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. It helps the channel grow. Anyways, thanks for watching.